any doctrine, any principle, any law, any teaching that is placed beside the gospel are given more emphasis than the gospel, no matter how harmless it may be in itself, immediately turns into a doctrine of demons.
For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching, but having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions, and will turn away from listening to the truth and wander off into myths. As for you, always be sober-minded, endure suffering, do the work of an evangelist, fulfill your ministry.
We can see, especially in the book of Colossians, but also Ephesians, we can see in 1st and 2nd Timothy, Paul was a steward of the gospel. He was a guardian of the gospel. And you know what he was doing. If you read his epistles carefully, he was not only preaching the gospel, he was constantly giving it the preeminence and teaching the church about the preeminence of the gospel of Jesus Christ. That of all things, it stands first, because without it, all things fall apart, fall to rubbish, and we find ourselves no longer saved.
Oftentimes we look at false teachers and false churches, and we look at their popularity and we say, these things are happening because we are failing in our discipleship. It's not necessarily the case. And I'm asked that question, I'm frequently asked that question, why is it? Why is it that God allows these false teachers to prosper, these false churches to grow? Why? I mean, why is it? If I was God, I would just like mushroom cloud, man. Just right there in the middle of TV, somebody opens their mouth and tells a lie, and then ashes. Why? Why do these false teachers prosper? Why do these false churches grow? The answer is because the Bible is true. Listen to it again. For the time is coming when people will not endure sound teaching. Having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves, or heap up for themselves, teachers to suit their own passions, and will turn away from listening to the truth and will wander off into myths. False teachers will prosper and false churches will grow. And it will happen because the Bible is true.
There are many good things. There are many good ethics. There are many good principles. There are many good laws, even in the scriptures. But if your conversation is consumed by something other than the gospel, then you are not understanding Scripture. You are not understanding the heart of Paul. You are not understanding the very mind of God. The gospel is not just a doctrine added on to other doctrines. It's not just one among many. It is the greatest manifestation of the attributes, the person of God that has ever been given or will ever be given. If you right now were standing in the place of Isaiah in Isaiah 6, if you were beholding the very face of God upon the throne, you could not understand him well. You see, earth's problem is how can God judge? Heaven's problem is altogether different. How can God save, pardon wicked men, and still maintain his righteousness? And the answer is in the gospel, where God becomes a man and goes to a tree and bears the sin of his people. And with that sin, the curse. And with that curse, all the holy hatred, all the righteous judgment of God is poured down upon the head of God's Son, and he absorbs it. He satisfies justice, so it no longer has a demand against God's people, and God can be just and the justifier of wicked men. Never put anything above the gospel of Jesus Christ.